Over 1400 years ago, Prophet Muhammad warned humanity about a deceptive figure known as the Dajjal. The descriptions of this individual were terrifying, a man who could command the sky to rain and bring the dead back to life. For centuries, scholars and everyday people viewed these abilities as pure magic. Without a scientific framework, the idea of one man possessing total control over weather and human biology sounded strictly supernatural. We are now witnessing the rapid deployment of artificial intelligence, cloud seeding, and neural microchips. When these modern technologies are mapped against the ancient texts, the miracles begin to resemble a highly advanced technological infrastructure observed through 7th century eyes. To test this theory, look at a specific encounter from the Prophet's era. A sailor named Tamim Dari was lost at sea and landed on an island where he met a giant man bound in chains. The man identified himself as the Dajjal and asked Tamim about 3 specific geographic locations: the date palms of Baisan, the Sea of Galilee, and the spring of Zughar. He predicted his release would align with a physical timeline. The date palms would stop bearing fruit, and the waters of those specific lakes and springs would dry up. The prophecy anchored his arrival in a measurable environmental checklist. The geographic markers provide a clear physical map today. Baisan sits in the Jordan Rift Valley, while the Sea of Galilee and the springs of Zughar serve as critical freshwater systems. The text specifies that when the agricultural yield fails and the freshwater disappears, the conditions for the Dajjal's emergence are met. We are looking at a 0-hour countdown tied directly to regional hydrology and agriculture. Right now, due to decades of overuse and shifting climate patterns, local agricultural authorities report that the historic date palms of Baisan are dying out. Commercial yields have dropped drastically. The water levels show the exact same trend. This photograph of the Sea of Galilee displays how far the shoreline has receded. Those exposed rocks used to be completely submerged. The water volume drops to highly dangerous lines. The physical geography matches the prophecy. A dry lakebed doesn't give a single person global power. To execute his specific abilities, the Dajjal requires a massive integrated network of control. The ancient warnings state that during a period of severe global famine, the Dajjal will command the sky to rain for anyone who accepts his authority and withhold it from anyone who resists. Controlling the weather is a well-documented scientific process. In this image, we see a researcher studying atmospheric manipulation in a controlled chamber, proving that human intervention can force cloud formation. That research scales up to what we call cloud seeding. This aircraft is equipped with silver iodine flares attached to the wing. As the plane flies through specific cloud layers, it burns these chemicals, introducing particles that force moisture to condense and fall as rain. Countries around the world already use this to dictate when and where precipitation happens. If you control the rain, you control the global food supply. And to enforce that control, you need a financial lever. As economies rapidly transition towards centralized digital currencies, physical cash is replaced by trackable, programmable money. A completely centralized digital economy creates a strict submit or starve mechanism. A central authority can freeze your bank accounts, instantly cutting off your access to food and water if you refuse to comply with their system. The Dajjal functions as the ultimate system administrator, leveraging an integrated stack of geoengineering and digital banking to force total compliance. The descriptions of how he travels across the globe also align with modern engineering. The prophet described the Dajjal riding a white donkey that travels as fast as the wind, with the distance between its 2 ears measuring 40 cubits. For a witness in the 7th century, there was no vocabulary for jet engines or aerodynamics. A giant, fast-moving transport vehicle with enormous protrusions would naturally be described using the closest biological equivalent, a massive donkey with wide ears. Look at modern commercial aviation. Most passenger and cargo aircraft are painted entirely white for thermal management. They travel at hundreds of miles per hour, supported by massive wingspans stretching out on either side. The color and structural shape of modern transport systems align with these ancient descriptions, framing the other miracles in a similarly physical context. This brings us to the most invasive layer of control: The Dajjal is prophesied to trick people into worship by perfectly imitating the forms of their deceased parents and speaking directly to them. Artificial intelligence makes this a commercial reality. We have software that instantly clones a person's voice from a short audio clip, and holographic projectors that create life-sized digital resurrections of deceased individuals. But physical holograms have limitations. The ultimate deception requires bypassing the eyes and ears entirely. Companies are currently developing and testing brain-computer interfaces, microchips implanted directly into the human brain that process and intercept neurological signals. Once an implant is wired into the visual and auditory cortex, a central system can feed artificial data straight into your nervous system. It overrides what your biological eyes actually see, replacing it with an artificial augmented reality feed. This creates a technological matrix. The user perceives the wireframe data as their deceased loved one standing right in front of them, looking and sounding perfectly real. The physical world and the digital illusion become indistinguishable. When an interface can bypass biological reality, a person's entire sense of their environment can be digitally simulated. These neurological overrides target those without the technical knowledge to recognize the artificial feed. Despite the overwhelming technological advantage, the prophecy details a specific, sudden end to the Dajjal's system. While believers are cornered in Syria, Prophet Isa, Jesus, will descend upon a white minaret in the eastern part of Damascus. The moment the Dajjal realizes Isa has returned, the psychological illusion fractures. Knowing his control is broken, he panics and attempts to physically flee from the approaching forces. The texts pinpoint the exact coordinates where Prophet Isa will catch and defeat him. It happens at a location called the Gates of Lud. This is an aerial photograph of the ancient city of Lud. For thousands of years, it was a recognized settlement in the Levant, with specific entry points and boundaries. If you locate the ancient gates of Lud on a modern map, you find the entrance of Israel's main international transit hub, Ben Gurion Airport. The master of the flying white donkey and global high-tech deception is struck down at a literal airport while trying to flee his own collapsing empire. We adopt digital money for convenience. We applaud brain chips as breakthroughs. We use weather modification for crops. The infrastructure for humanity's greatest deception is being built around us under the guise of progress. The technosphere is an active, functioning system. Every time we surrender autonomy to an algorithm or accept biological integration with our devices, we inch closer to a fully connected reality that a single entity can manipulate. When reality can be digitally forged into your visual cortex, skepticism isn't enough. Surviving this illusion requires technical awareness and unwavering spiritual faith.